But don't forget, you can watch us too. We are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And today we've got Miss Leah Jolly. She is Miss Capital City of 2025, but she is also an author, an advocate, and someone whose story began across the world in Ukraine in an orphanage. And she's up to some really good things here in Mississippi. So welcome, Leah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, is it Leah or do you want Anna? How does it go?
It's Leah.
Leah for you. Okay, so I have an Emily James, and I get irritated when people call her Emily, and so I just want to make sure I get that right, Miss Leah. Well, welcome today, and congratulations. So we've had many pageant winners or title holders come as you gear up for the next phase there in Vicksburg, coming up in June for Miss Mississippi. But you may have a little bit different story that kind of led you to this way than some of the others. So take us back how far you want to, Leah. Kind of give us a background of your advocacy and then what makes your story special.
Yeah, so I was adopted from Ukraine when I was almost 12 years old, and yesterday it actually just marked of 12 years of me being here. So it's literally half of my life in Ukraine and half of my life here. Something that I remember everything about Ukraine. I remember where I lived, on the streets. I knew the back of just all the towns that I grew up in, and Odessa I knew it like the back of my hand, and Belgorod is where I grew up for the most part. And it's just so sad to see like where Ukraine is right now. But something that I'm doing right now, being adopted and being from an orphanage for a few years, I really want to encourage people that where your story starts is not where it ends, and to really encourage them to push forward and to also do something in the waiting while you're waiting to get adopted, or while you're waiting for that rainbow at the end of the gray sky. But I was when I was adopted, I didn't speak English at all. It was, I guess, 2013, and I remember it like yesterday. I went to Jackson Academy for just a little bit. I learned English really, really fast by watching a lot of TV.
Oh, what'd you watch?
I watched, oh my goodness, just like Disney Channel and Disney movies that were all in English. And it's kind of funny because I thought they were all originally in Russian, so it was kind of a wake-up call. But I just remember even like Little Mermaid I just remember all the songs in Russian, so it was really funny to have it all in English. And then I started ballet because I couldn't speak English with Ballet Magnificat. And it was just a way for me to dance and do something that didn't require talking. And I so happened to have a Russian teacher, so it was really helpful for me. He was like my only friend for a while, and I fell in love with it, got really good at it. I trained with Catherine Morgan for a few years, and Yuri Roborsky was my Russian teacher. He was technically from Czech, but he can speak Russian, and he was my small group leader at Pine Lake, so it was really cool. And then now I own a dance studio called Studio A Dance Company. It's within Courthouse Gymnastics in Flowood, and it's my third year. In fact, tomorrow we're having Alice in Wonderland recital, so I'm really excited to get the girls ready. And then something that kind of pushed me into this organization or introduced me to it was actually dancing. I met a lot of friends through dance and through Ballet Magnificat and Belhaven. And they were like, hey, you really need to do Miss Mississippi. It's a really good way to showcase your talent and also learn how to speak and not be shy. And also it's a really good way to talk about something like Limitless, which is an organization that I started last year as I was Miss Rankin County.
And that would be in part of your, now they call them the Community Service Initiative.
Yes.
Well, I have to say, Leah, man, what courage it took for anyone to come from a different country and then, have to learn a new language and make new friends and all that. So it should have been nothing for you to get on stage. Normally I talk about what courage it takes young ladies to do that, and it still does. It's a different type of courage, but it just sort of goes to show in terms of the resilience with that. When you got that opportunity, you knew or probably were introduced to this idea of that Community Service Initiative, which used to be Platform, which used to be all these things. And every time we have a title holder in Good Things, I remind them that these young women are doing such great things outside in their communities, utilizing these platforms. So Limitless for you, was it created prior to you getting into the Miss America organization, or was that a good jumping off point for you to utilize your story and your advocacy in a more streamlined way?
It was definitely just a way in for me. I didn't know that I could use my story to make such a big impact until I competed in Miss Mississippi. And honestly, it was such a God thing. Just every step I took was blessed with advocating for Limitless Day, which was just yesterday, which is Mississippi's Limitless Day is just recognizing foster care and adoption and what my service community service brings to the table, which I have a website. It's called limitlesspowertoconnect.com, and it's for parents. It introduces the emotion wheel and how to use it, my story, and how you can even play fun games, print it out, the emotion wheel, and what you can do with it to
If
connect.
we haven't heard of the emotion wheel first, explain that to us.
Yes.
Analia.
So I actually have a brand new book in Barnes & Noble. It's called Theodore, the Little Bear with Big Feelings. And it introduces the emotion wheel. It talks about how this little bear gets adopted and he doesn't know what to do with his feelings. And the mom introduces the emotion wheel saying, hey, these are the different colors, these are the different emotions. And if you feel a certain way and you just don't know how to talk about it, you can just point and we'll talk it through. And they've always listened, and he got really, really comfortable with sharing his emotions. And at the very back of the book, it has the children version of the emotion wheel, and also the complex version of the emotion wheel. And it's just a really, really good way for parents, caregivers, or just the community to connect with children, especially like for someone like me. I didn't speak English, so sharing my emotions was really difficult. So if I had a tool like that when I first came, it would have saved so many tears.
Yeah.
Because communication is so hard.
How'd you get introduced to it? The
Sorry.
emotion wheel.
The emotion wheel. I honestly don't know. We've kind of researched a lot of therapists that used it, and
I feel like every parent needs that.
yeah, I feel like it's not very well known. So it's something that I really wanted to introduce to the world in a fun way that doesn't feel like therapy, but it is.
And a way, too, to just work through, I guess, emotions and feelings. And I think it's wonderful that you're utilizing this platform to focus on foster children and adoption. There's so many beautiful stories that can come out of that. There's still a lot of misunderstanding or fears that are surrounding sort of that. And so anytime we can hear about those that, the stories of the lives that were changed, right? Like yours was completely changed 12 years ago when you came to Mississippi. That had to be a shock.
Yes.
We're moving into the summer months. Analia, have you still gotten used to the humidity here?
Yeah, it's definitely different because it snows in Ukraine all the time.
Yeah, we don't have that often.
Oh.
We don't have that often here. But your next look is out for Miss Mississippi, right? And so that's the big one where we crown our next Miss Mississippi. Do you feel ready for that?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. I mean, using my platform has made such a difference already. I was actually just doing a book reading of my two books, Analia, the Limitless Ballerina, and Theodore, the Little Bear with Big Feelings. They're both in Barnes & Noble, but something that when I was reading, one of the girls said that her mom just passed away last year, and she was only 9 years old. And just getting her to come out of her shell and just talk about that was such a big deal. So the fact that she loved the book, and the fact that she was able to use that as a way to communicate is just so phenomenal. So I really hope that Miss Mississippi is definitely not validating what I'm doing, but it's elevating everything I'm doing. And just getting to do all this as Miss Capital City, I can only imagine what Miss Mississippi could do. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So you competed last year, and you got
4th runner-up.
Which, congratulations.
Thank you.
So if you win Miss Mississippi, why would that title also be special and unique to you?
Yeah, well, for someone that's not from here and wasn't born in this country and wasn't born in Mississippi, it would mean so much to me because it would mean something so different than any other contestant that's competing. To wear the title across my chest would be something that I've chosen. Mississippi actually got offered a spot in Brazil one year for dancing and ballet, but I chose Mississippi Company instead. I really love this place. It's been given me so much, and to give back and really live out the American dream is just so special to me. So I hope I can be a really good example, and I definitely think I would be a very different Miss Mississippi from anyone who has come before me.
You were already a good example, Miss Analia, and you don't necessarily need a crown to make an impact, but if you do, then kudos to you, obviously. If folks want to look into your book or your website or any of the other things, how can they follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Leah Jolly, and you can find me on Barnes & Noble, Limitless Ballerina, or Theodore, the Little Bear with Big Feelings. Or they can also find me at limitlesspowertoconnect.com, and on Facebook, Instagram, My Studio A dance company is also on Facebook. And yeah, so follow and watch Miss Mississippi.
Good luck. We will be watching and following your story. It won't end here, I promise that. All right, stick with us. We got more for you.